Hi guys, my name is Mackenzie and I'm going to be teaching y'all 3 different fallacies today. The first fallacy is going to be appeal to tradition, the second fallacy is going to be moral equivalence, and the third fallacy is going to be either or / false dilemma fallacy. So let's begin. The first fallacy, appeal to tradition, is when something is accepted as true or better just because it's the way it's always been done, not because there's any evidence to support it, just because it's tradition. One example of this fallacy that happened was in a debate between feminist and anti-feminist. They were talking about men's issues, and one of the issues that was brought up was toxic masculinity. And one of the debaters said that because men were traditionally brought up a certain way, that they should continue to be brought up that way, when in fact this is a fallacy because obviously there's not true evidence to support that this is the correct way to bring someone up, as there are multiple different cultures that bring up men different ways. And also scientists is kind of proving that toxic masculinity can be damaging for men. Surprise! The second one that we're going to talk about, he could have avoided saying this, I believe, just by not using the word traditional, or, I think this is a rough conversation because obviously traditionally men have been brought up a certain way, but I don't think that gives him any grounds to stand on for that kind of argument. Moral equivalence is our second fallacy, and that's when you compare two things as morally equal no matter what those two things are. One example of this fallacy was during a debate between liberal blacks and conservative blacks, and they were talking about their political views, and one of the debaters said that religious beliefs on abortion affects their political view. Now, if this was just a general I statement, I wouldn't consider this a fallacy, and that's how it could be avoided. But since they were using it as a general blanket term, this is obviously a fallacy because those morals do not always interact with each other or intersect. Your views on abortion can be different from your religious views, and your religious views can be different from your political views. So I thought that was very interesting for them to say that, and it could have been very easily avoided by just using that I statement. This third fallacy we're going to talk about is either or fallacy / false dilemma. This one is when people try to present only two options when there are multiple solutions to a problem. Example of this is when boomers were debating with Gen Zers, and one of the things that a boomer debater said is that he was scared for the next generation because they seem to be going away from a capitalistic mindset to a communistic mindset. And this fallacy, he was making it where either you're capitalism or you're communism. And obviously that is not the case, as one of the debaters did point out there is an in-between ground between those two extremes, and that can be what people are reaching for. And I do believe that is a good way to have avoided that fallacy. Thank you for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed.